So tonight, what we're going to do, Rick on his last training, if you guys were there or not, he talked about the belief systems, right? And it's really crucial that we identify these beliefs that are holding us back and causing us to take actions that maybe we don't want to take, or not take actions that we really do want to take in our lives, right? Identifying those beliefs, those triggers that are causing us to do these things that are getting us poor results in our life. This is a huge part of the work that needs to be done. Getting that awareness and identifying the what we're doing, why we're doing it, that's really the first step of this. Because once you have that awareness, now you can start noticing, oh, I every time she's upset, it triggers me to, like, I get upset for some reason. I don't have anything to be upset about, but when she's angry, like, for some reason, I'm angry too now. Why do I do that? Anybody have that one? It's like she's not allowed to be upset. But why? Who said who said being upset is a bad thing? Who said we're only allowed to be happy? Who says there's good emotions and bad emotions? Who taught us that? All emotions are important. We need to be able to be sad and angry. We also need to be able to be happy too. But all of these emotions are important. We need to be able to feel these, and we need to be able to allow others to feel them too. And a big part of the work that I do and what I focus on with the nice guy stuff and the people pleasing is identifying these types of things that we're talking about right now, where there's certain triggers that we have, and oftentimes we believe if other people are not happy, we need to figure out a way to change that because that's not good, especially when it comes to the women in our lives. One of the most important things that I did in my life was learn how to allow my wife to be upset and stop trying to fix it. Crucial. Okay. And we're going to talk about that in more detail later on. But I've got a lot of false beliefs that are common with this, with the people pleasing and the nice guy behaviors. I want to go through just two of them tonight. And then on the next few calls, we're going to go through these false beliefs. We're just going to continue to dive into them, take chunks out of them. And then I want to hear from you guys afterwards to hear like where you see these in your life and how you think they affected you and where you think they came from. So the first one, the first one I want to get into is helping others is more important than helping myself. So here's the phrase I want you guys to hear to start off with this one, right? So the belief is helping others is more important than helping myself. Putting everyone else before you is not selfless. It is self-harm and self-abandonment. That's what we are doing. It is not selfless to sacrifice yourself and make you less so that they can somehow maybe possibly be more. We talk about the oxygen mask on the airplane example. Everybody has heard this, but it needs to be said over and over again. Lock this in. When you're on the airplane, what do they tell you? You need to put your oxygen mask first before you help the others. Why is that? Why do they tell you that? Why do they tell you to take care of yourself before you try to start taking care of everyone else? Because if you don't, number one, you're going to become a liability eventually. As you're trying to help everyone else, you're going to run out of oxygen, you're going to pass out. And not only are you not going to be able to help people to the level that you should be able to, you also become a liability to them. And maybe that's where you're at in your life right now. Maybe you're starting to feel like a liability to everyone else around you, even though you feel like all you've done is try to help them. Has anyone ever felt like that, or maybe feel a little bit like that right now? It's a trap. All I do is help, but no, like I feel like I'm a liability to you. I feel like a burden to you, but all I've done is sacrifice myself for you. That's the position we will find ourselves if we allow this belief to take hold and keep using it. Also with this, if you don't take care of yourself first, we all agree helping others is good. It's important. I think it's an important piece of life. We all need to help each other. So can we all agree helping more is better than helping less? Everybody agree? Do you think you could help more if you were the best version of yourself? Of course. Of course you could. So why do we keep hurting ourselves and making ourselves less, thinking that we'll be able to help more? It doesn't work that way. It will never work that way. A broken man cannot help at the levels of a solid one. It's not possible. So with this, I want you to imagine you're sitting at a table with a bunch of friends, family, coworkers, and acquaintances, and everybody has a cup in front of them. And a lot of times what we think we've been doing our whole lives is walking around with our cup and filling up everyone else's at the table. Hey, I listen to all your problems. Every time you need to emotionally dump, I fill your cup up. Hey, I let you live with me and not pay rent, be rent free because you needed some help. I do your responsibilities at our job because you're not organized and you don't plan accordingly, and you're my friend, so I need to help you out, or you're my boss, so I need to, you know, make up for your inadequacies. That shouldn't be my responsibility, but I do it anyways. I'm helping you. I helped you move when you broke up with your crazy ex. I lend you money. I watch your kids whenever you need me to. And listen, in the beginning of our lives, this works really well, especially when we're younger, because a lot of our needs are being taken care of by our family, our parents, our providers. You have a lot more free time to do things that you enjoy, and you're able to have those healthy outlets. Don't have many responsibilities to worry about as a young man. But as life goes on, you have more and more responsibilities and less and less and less time. Everyone agree? It's kind of how it goes as you grow as a man. So what ends up happening with this is that doesn't work anymore. But you continue to do it out of habit and the belief that it's the right thing to do. This is what makes me a good person. But if you're here right now, if you've gotten to the point that you are in this program or watching this video, there is a good chance that your cup is empty. And what you don't realize is that by you taking care of everyone else and avoiding your own problems, you're actually not filling those people's cups up anymore. How could you? If your cup is empty, how could you possibly be filling these people's cups? What you are actually doing at this point is you are using those people to get the attention and the validation that you need to tell yourself you're still a good person, even though you're not taking care of yourself. You're going around to them and filling up your own cup to make yourself feel whole because you're avoiding your own problems and validating yourself as a good guy by helping other people solve their problems. Is this making sense? You guys tracking with me on this? So let's go to the second belief here. Okay, and these are two really, I struggled with these ones for years. So the second one is the belief that me being nice is helping other people. I'm helping others. This is good. The guys that come in here the most broken and hurting are often the ones that would do anything for other people because they want to help them avoid the pain and the hurt that they themselves have been through. Anyone relate with that? I just don't want to see them go through the stuff that I went through, so I will do anything to help them avoid it. The worst part about this is that this will break us down even further than we already are, because no one is going to be there for him the way he is for them. People don't treat us how we treat them. They treat us how we allow them to treat us and how we teach them to treat us. And since most nice guys are givers that struggle with setting boundaries on their giving, we end up surrounding ourselves with takers who have no limits on their taking. And when you are at your lowest of lows, you've depleted all of your resources and have nothing left to give, you will find that you have surrounded yourself with people who are incapable of giving to you. I'm guessing some of you have maybe run into this trap at some point. Right? You're like, dude, I helped you guys. I helped you when you were at your lowest. I helped you get that job. I helped you go through school. I helped you, all of these things, right? All of these people. And then when you were at that point and you were finally hurting so bad that you had the courage to reach out and ask for help for once, nobody was there. It's because we taught them that they didn't have to be. It's because we never asked for help before. And we'll get into that later on as well.
Did we clean this up?
All right. So with this, a couple of paths I want to dive into a little bit deeper on this one. So first off, we fall into this trap because being nice to people gives us a positive response from them. And that feels good. Who here likes it when other people like them? We all like that. Feels good, right? Yeah, I think we can all agree. Other people liking us feels good. It's actually a dopamine hit. So when someone likes us, our brain gets some nice chemicals that makes us feel good. And we train ourselves to try and get those chemicals as much as possible because we like feeling good. Now, I could be off on this one. I don't know for some of you guys. Does anyone not like feeling good? Like, does anyone wake up every day and think, what can I do today? I can't wait to do all the things that make me feel like shit today. Are there any people that are into that on here? I don't think so. Most of us don't. I don't think anybody is like that. I hope nobody's like that. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, does feeling good always lead to good things? Or maybe a better way to ask this, because good and bad are relative to what our goals are, right? Kind of weird words that we just throw out there. Is feeling good always a signal? Is feeling good always a signal that we are getting closer to our goals? Does it feel good when we're drunk? When we're high? When we're eating ice cream and cookies and donuts? When we're scrolling on social media? When we're binge watching a TV show? When we're cheating on our girlfriends or wives? When we're getting attention from other girls? All those things tend to feel pretty good in the short term. That's why so many of us are stuck in the bad habit of doing them. And what I want you guys to understand is that being nice is no different than all of those quick dopamine hits. So the question is, are you a slave to the dopamine hit you get from a positive response you get from others when you are nice to them, just like people get trapped in the things we just mentioned there? This is an important question to ask ourselves. Am I addicted to people liking me? Now, second path I want to go on this. Is you being nice helping people, or is it enabling them to continue doing things that are unhealthy and unproductive for them and your relationship with them? So, story about a guy named Steve that came in to work with me. Okay. He hopped on the call, and he asked me, he said, dude, I need you to fix my wife. And I said, okay, where's your wife at? Why didn't she come? If we need to fix her, like, why is it just you here? And he said, well, she didn't want to come. She doesn't think she has a problem. Okay, she doesn't think she has a problem. Let's talk about this. Tell me more. So, long story short, he's working 60, 80 hours a week while his wife was a stay-at-home mom. The kids were old enough to be in school, so she kind of spent her days going to yoga class and shopping and drinking wine with the friends. And then at night, she would take some anti-anxiety meds and pass out before they ever had a chance to be romantic. But when he got home from work at night, the house was always a mess. There was nothing to eat, so he would have to grab some fast food on his way home for him and the kids, and then spend his evenings doing chores around the house. Obviously, Steve loved his wife. Like, he loved this woman. He was committed to her. And he was frustrated and heartbroken over the way that she was living and treating him. And he was telling me all of the things that he was trying to do to get her to start taking care of the house and paying attention to the kids and stop spending all of the money that they had. But nothing seemed to work. He told me, I asked him, like, what have you tried to fix this? He said, well, I'm giving her everything she needs to be happy and make these changes. We're going on the vacations that she wants to because she needs these trips to relax. I've paid for babysitters so she could have more time to take care of the house. I've paid for therapy to help her overcome her past traumas. And when she stopped going to therapy, I offered to find her another therapist that would work better for her because she didn't like that therapist. And on he went. All these things he was doing for her to try and help her solve her problem.
Harvey, brother, you got people trying to get in.
Oh, my bad. Gerald's in here. Here, Dan, I'm going to give you co-host.
All right.
Thank you. So he's talking about all of the things that he's been trying to do for her to get her to change and just be happy and take care of herself and the family. And I told him at that point, I said, dude, I think your wife was right. She doesn't have a problem. And the look on his face, he said, you can't be serious, can you? I said, I am serious. She doesn't have any problems from the sound of it. You do. It sounds like she gets to do whatever she wants. You work your ass off all day. You pay for everything. You worry about everything. You make all the plans to fix things, and you give her all the energy you have to keep her happy and going. She doesn't have any problems because you have taken all of her problems from her. All these things that should be her problems are currently yours. And right now, she is irresponsible and happy. And you are responsible and miserable. You have to start doing less and taking away these conveniences that you are providing for her, man. Right? Everyone, if you've talked to Rick much, you've probably heard him say you need to start doing less, brother. And Steve's immediate response was, isn't that kind of mean to just stop helping her and like cut her off from the finances and all the things that she's been doing? Won't that just make her mad and make things worse for me? And then the question I had for him was, has helping her and giving her everything that she wants and needs worked yet? What has that done? What is the result of everything that you've been trying? And in that moment, I could see the wheels beginning to turn in his mind as he started to begin to understand how his niceness was not helping her or their relationship. And this is where we started to talk about boundaries. And we'll get into that later on down the road. We'll do some deep dive into that. But we have to tackle some other stuff and set up some of the foundations with the beliefs for all of that to work properly. And what I came to realize over time, working with men as well as monitoring my and my wife's growth through the process, is that the potential for change that someone can make in their life is directly related to the pain they are experiencing. They go hand in hand. It's like linear paths. The more pain you have, the more change you could possibly make. Now, I think a lot of you in here are making big changes right now because you've experienced a high level of pain. Anybody agree with that? You've experienced so much pain that you're finally like, I am changing no matter what. I will do whatever it takes. So without that pain, you would have no reason to be here. You wouldn't be motivated to change. So why are we taking the one thing away from people that will help them grow and change into a better version of themselves to become better equipped to handle life? People do need a hand up and helped out. We should all help each other, like we said. It's important. It's a beautiful thing. But have to realize the difference between helping someone and enabling someone to continue to do bad habits that are destroying their life and maybe yours too. So those are the two beliefs I want to start with as we go through this process. I got about 8 or 10 more I want to dive into on some future calls here with you guys. And since we're kind of focused in on the awareness with what Rick's doing in the beginning of this program, It's the perfect time to do this. It'll go hand in hand, okay? So my question to you guys, I know some people came in late. I know I didn't let some people in because I wasn't paying attention, and Dan was nice enough to help me out and call it to my attention. So if you missed some stuff, my apologies. I'll put this recording up as soon as possible. But I want to hear from you guys on this. I want to hear your thoughts on this. I want to hear maybe what you're struggling with when it comes to these beliefs, because it's a tough thing when we attach our value and like our moral code to these things. It's very difficult to separate it and do the opposite, because that's really what you have to do. We have to do the exact opposite to make things right, to make yourself whole again. And doing the exact opposite of the thing you've spent your whole life believing was the right thing to do can sometimes be a difficult thing to do. But let's talk about it. Let's work through it. Part of the process, like Rick said on his homework in the past call, is you need to dive into why you're doing this. What is it that has made you believe this? And question it. Is it true? Is it absolutely true? What would my life look like? And how would I operate differently if it wasn't true? And would I like that life better than the current life I have? Those are the questions I run myself through with these beliefs. It's like 4 standard questions. Is that true? Is it 100% true without a shadow of a doubt? What would my life look like if it wasn't true? If I believed the exact opposite? And then once you know, like, this is the results that I'm getting now, these are the results I think I would get if I believe the exact opposite of this. Which one sounds better? It's a choice, guys. Our beliefs are a choice. It's not something you have to carry around with you for the rest of your life. It is a choice. Let me ask you guys a question, and feel free to raise hands and we can unmute and chat about this as a group. How long do you think it takes to change a belief? Anybody have any ideas? I know some warriors are in here. You probably know the answer. Don't give it away. But some of the other guys who haven't gone through all the trainings yet, how long do you think it takes to change a belief?
Less than a second.
Less than a second. Okay. Anybody else? What do you guys think?
I think once you reach enough pain, you can make that decision instantaneously.
What's that? Say it again.
I think once you reach enough pain, you can make that decision instantaneously in your life.
Instantaneously. I would agree with that. This is why a lot of people like kind of treat this like, anyone here, it takes 21 days to install a new habit in your life. It takes 60 days. It takes whatever it is, right? But we've all met that guy that the flip of the switch, my uncle, when his first child was born, all of my uncles are recovering alcoholics. I grew up going to AA with them. Okay, this was my family. I would get babysat at AA meetings. And after he had his first child, he came home one day after he was up for like 72 hours straight on a bender, doing a lot of coke, drinking. And he got home, and his wife at the time, or his girlfriend at the time, his girlfriend at the time, handed him the baby and said, "You've been gone for 3 days. Your turn to take care of the baby. I'm out of here." And in that moment, from that moment, he never drank again. because he was all of a sudden faced with this fear of, I have to take care of my child right now, and I'm in no state to do it. And I can't ever let this happen again. We all know people like that, where all of a sudden it's like, boom, he stopped smoking. He stopped drinking. That guy totally turned his life around. That's not to say you're not going to have some bumps along the way, even after you change your beliefs, but we all have seen that happen, and maybe it's happened to you at some point too.